Final Fantasy XV has finally been brought upon us, and I can say that the list of RPGs that I've actually wanted to finish is rather short, but this one kept me going. After many different delays and ditching the key aspect that is a Final Fantasy game, 15 wrapped up to be quite a good game. I was thinking not having turn-based combat for a Final Fantasy game would turn me off of this one, but god damn, the product they gave us is extremely impressive. The graphics, the well-written characters, the fight system, they nailed so much in my eyes. The 4 guys in the game are all extremely likable, which was really an actual shock considering some of Square's other characters, and Gladio's big brother attitude towards Nock.
The King's Sworn Shield.
You better believe it.
From Ignis's tactful mind that always puts his prince's well-being first.
I have an idea. If I may.
To Prompto's goofy childlike behavior.
I want to ride my chocobo all day. Can't get it out of my head.
Nock, on the other hand, had me going back and forth whether I liked him as a character. The first half of the game, I couldn't help but feel he was the classic Final Fantasy main character, where he is an emotionless robot that is way too monotone, which really sucks considering you are locked to playing him throughout the whole game. But the second half of the game, he completely flipped, and I felt like I was seeing a whole new character. The emotion, the take-charge attitude, and the things he had to go through brought out the best of him, and he joined the rest of the crew for being an actual person. The stories of Final Fantasy games have always been the most confusing fucking thing ever. They can't just give us a simple story with normal city names and shit. All these mystical names have always just muddied the waters of the story and confuses the fuck out of the players more often than not. 15 follows that same road. The first half of that game, I couldn't follow anything that was going on. I felt like I needed to watch that god-awful Kingsglaive movie beforehand, which doesn't help because that was confusing as fuck as well. It wasn't until Chapter 9 that the game did a complete 180 on me. I got so invested in the story after that, and it was at that time that all the characters started to show me the different side of them, and make them that much better. The emotions that the 4 guys go through during the second half was almost too much for me. I was glad I stuck with the game because I was gifted with such a satisfying ending that made the game feel actually complete. The fighting handles damn near flawlessly. I feel so in control while fighting while at the same time I'm zipping around like a fucking child on acid. It's really fun. Link Strikes is one of my favorite things about the game. It really shows the coordination between the guys and how much they rely on one another to put out those big hits. One thing that really bugged me was that on the PS4, the square button was to dodge and circle was to attack, which is just shit because in every other fucking game imaginable, it's the other way around. I found myself dodging and draining all my AP because of this. Driving was something they drove down our throats leading up to the game, and I couldn't help but feel like it got fumbled big time. It's nice to get in the car and hear their conversations to begin with, but it slowly became more of a nuisance than anything. Driving doesn't get really good until post-game obviously, but until then, you can't really drive yourself. You hit a button to go and a button to reverse and that's it. You could sort of steer, but if you let go, then it just corrected your path like a ride from an amusement park. Fast travel is in the game as well, but sometimes that option isn't always available, and there are some rides where I found myself waiting for 10 minutes until I reach my destination. You can run out of gas too, which just became more annoying than realistic. The summons in the game are fucking unreal. Summons have always been a staple part of Final Fantasy, and the coolest shit to use. But this game takes it to a whole new level. The way they did it felt more like it was actually happening right then and there to the person you're using it on, which felt so much better instead of the pre-rendered shit like always. Okay, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about 2 things here which may or may not impact the game depending on the type of player you are. But for safety's sake, go ahead and skip to the final part to avoid the spoilers. Alright, speaking of summons, you get Leviathan after beating her, but I gotta say the Leviathan fight itself, which was more of a fight for such a massive boss. It was fun, but not hard. All I did was dodge for 10 minutes and then Nock goes Super Saiyan 3 and kicks the shit out of her with instant transmission and the fucking missile barrages, because I felt like I could not die. There was no room for error. It was really fun to use, I'll admit, but not challenging at all. Same with the Ravis fight. It was more annoying than challenging for a fight. You could go in for a few hits, warp strike away during his voodoo shit, heal the blind child when he dies again, and repeat. Not hard. And the second spoiler I wanted to say is just a personal thing.
So yeah. Out with it.
My favorite part in this game is during the scene in the middle of the credits once you beat it.
Damn it. What the hell is this so hard? I've made my peace. Still, knowing this is it, and seeing you here now, it's more than I can take.
The scene where they are all around the campfire for the final time was truly a stroke of genius for how human Square was able to make these 3D characters.
spit it out.
Nox says more in that one scene than he does in the 25-hour story.
It's good to hear. Well, what can I say? You guys are the best.
The game was such a thrill for me. Sure, it has its many flaws, but overall, it's a great game. I found myself playing all evening a few times, wanting more out of it. There's tons to do post-game with the flying regala and the infamous giant-ass mountain turtle, plus all the new content they will be releasing soon with the episodes of Ignis, Pronto, and Gladio. And one last little thing about the game. The pictures that Pronto take is an amazing and neat little mechanic they put in.
That's boss. Come now, it's nothing special.
The graphics are top-notch, the music is insanely well orchestrated, the characters are all likable, especially the lovely looking Ariana. She can top me any day. I'd give this game an 8 out of 10 overall. It's slow going at first, but hang in there. It's worth it in the end.